1921. A famous comedian stood accused of killing a young actress. The scandal shocked the world, destroyed his career forever. But that was just the beginning of Hollywood's darkest secret. For over 100 years, some of the most beloved celebrities were hiding something terrible. They weren't just controversial or badly behaved, they were criminals. And fame protected them for decades. Some abused children inside TV studios while the cameras weren't rolling. Some drugged women and destroyed their lives in silence. Others killed people and walked free because of their power. You won't believe how long this went on. Hundreds of victims, decades of silence, zero consequences. Until the world finally started paying attention. These aren't just rumors or Twitter drama. These are convictions, prison, sentences, and court verdicts. This is the complete breakdown of the most evil celebrities in Hollywood history. What they did, how they hid it, and when. Justice finally came. And by the end, you'll see how Hollywood protected monsters for over a century. And it all started with the worst of them all, the unseen predator. In Britain, there was a man everyone trusted. His name was Jimmy Savile, and he was a TV star for decades. He raised millions for charity, even got a knighthood from the Queen. People loved him everywhere he went. But behind that smile, something much darker. For over 50 years, starting in the 1950s, he had access to places most people could never enter. TV studios, hospitals, schools, charities. And in those places, he hurt hundreds of people. Children, vulnerable adults, people who couldn't fight back. And the worst part? Everyone around him knew something was wrong, but no. One stopped him. He died in 2011 as a national hero. He got a grand funeral with full honors. Then in 2012, everything changed. An investigation revealed the truth about what he had done. Over 450 victims came forward. It became the largest abuse scandal in British broadcast history. But here's the most disturbing part of all. He was never arrested. Never. Charged, never punished. He died free and celebrated, and the world only. Learned the truth after he was gone. Savile used charity as his shield to hide in plain sight, but the next man used something even more powerful. Hollywood fame. And when he finally fell, it changed the entire world. The power broker. In Hollywood, there was one man who had more power than almost anyone else. His name was Harvey Weinstein, and he was one of the biggest producers in the world. He made Oscar-winning films, could turn unknown actors into superstars overnight. But for over 30 years, he was also doing something else. He was hurting women behind closed doors, and the shocking part, he didn't even try to hide it. Hotel rooms, office, meetings, industry events. He did it openly because he knew no one would stop him. Then in October 2017, everything fell apart. The New York Times and the New Yorker published investigations that exposed him. More than 80 women came forward with their stories. In 2020, he was convicted in New York and sentenced to 23 years in prison. In 2022, he was convicted again in California and got 16 more years. But then in 2024, something unexpected happened. His New York conviction was overturned because of a legal technicality. In 2025, they retried him, and he was convicted once again. As of January 2026, he's still in custody with decades of prison ahead of him. His power is gone, but the damage he caused will never disappear. Weinstein's exposure broke the silence that had lasted for years. But there was another predator who had been operating even longer. And he used music as his weapon, the maestro of control. You've probably heard the song, "I Believe I Can Fly." It was one of the biggest hits of the 1990s. The man who sang it was R. Kelly, one of the most successful R&B artists ever. But behind the music, there was a dark pattern that lasted for decades. Whispers started years before anyone paid attention. He kept relationships hidden from the public eye. Disturbing videos quietly circulated, but nothing happened. People tried to speak up, but those with power chose to stay silent. Then in 2008, he went to trial and was cleared of all charges. It seemed like he had won. But the truth was just waiting. In 2021, he was finally found guilty in federal court. The charge? Running an organized operation built on coercion and control. In 2022, he was convicted again on charges tied to unlawful exploitation. His total sentence now adds up to more than 40 years in prison. Freedom is no longer part of his future. And here's what made it even more disturbing. This wasn't just one man acting, alone out of impulse. It was structured like a business with an inner circle that followed orders. There were rules, isolation, compliance. It functioned like a system, not a crime of passion. R. Kelly built his control in private behind locked doors, but the next man did. Something even more dangerous. He built trust in public. A warm smile, a cozy sweater, a voice that felt like family. America invited him into their homes every week, and no one suspected what he was really doing. America's dad. Every week, millions of families gathered around their TV. They were watching Bill Cosby, the man they called America's dad, The Cosby Show, Jell-O commercials, speeches about being a good person. This man was in their living rooms making them laugh, making them feel safe. But those families had no idea what he was doing when the camera stopped. Rolling. For over 30 years, he had a secret. He was drugging women. He was assaulting them. And he got away with it because no one could believe it was true. Then something happened that changed everything. One woman spoke up, then another, then another. Soon, more than 60 women were telling the same horrifying story. He would invite them for a meeting, offer them a drink. They'd start feeling dizzy. Then, nothing. They'd wake up knowing something terrible had happened. The pattern was always the same. The method never changed. For decades, he used his fame as the perfect cover. Who would believe them over America's? Dad? Finally, in 2018, the law caught up with him. Guilty. 3 counts. Prison. The women had been telling the truth all along. Justice had finally arrived. Or so everyone thought. In 2021, his lawyers found a loophole, a technicality, a procedural error from years before. The judge had no choice. Bill Cosby walked out of prison a free man. Not innocent, just free. And he's still free right now in January 2026. The law failed those women, but something else didn't fail. The world believes. Them now. His shows are gone. His reputation is destroyed. His legacy is poison. Bill Cosby is free, but he'll never be America's dad again. He escaped prison on a technicality, but the next celebrity didn't wait around for a verdict. He packed his bags and ran. The Fugitive Director. Roman Polanski made some of the greatest movies ever created. Chinatown, The Pianist, Rosemary's Baby. But in 1977, something happened that would define him forever. In Los Angeles, he was charged with a serious crime involving a 13-year-old girl. He pleaded guilty to a lesser charge, expecting a light sentence. But when he heard the judge might give him real prison time, he made a choice. The night before sentencing, he got on a plane to Europe. And he never came back. Since then, he's been living freely in France and Poland. European courts keep protecting him from extradition. And here's what makes it even more sickening. His career never stopped. He kept making movies, winning awards, getting standing ovations at film, festivals. Hollywood defended him publicly. They said it was so long ago and he's already suffered enough. The truth is, he never faced one day in prison. Polanski proved you could escape justice with enough money. But the next. Celebrity thought talent made him untouchable too. until one night in 2003 when someone didn't walk out alive. The Wall of Sound. Phil Spector revolutionized music production forever. He worked with the Ronettes, the Beatles, and created the famous Wall of Sound. But in February 2003, something happened at his mansion. An actress named Lana Clarkson came to visit him late at night. Hours later, she was dead from a gunshot to the mouth. Spector claimed it was suicide, but the evidence told a completely different story. In 2007, his first trial ended in a mistrial. Then in 2009, they tried him again, and this time he was convicted of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 19 years to life in prison. In 2021, he died behind bars from COVID-19 at age 81. But here's what made the case even darker. During the trial, witnesses came forward with disturbing stories. They said Spector had a history of threatening women with guns. This wasn't a tragic accident or a moment of rage. It was a pattern that had finally caught up with him. Spector died behind bars, but the next man is still there, and he'll be locked up for the next 30 years. Danny Masterson was a sitcom star on That 70s Show for 8 seasons. Millions watched him every week and thought he was just a funny guy. But in the early 2000s, he raped 3 different women. And for years, no one could stop him. The question everyone asked was, why did it take so long? Prosecutors say the answer was Scientology. The church allegedly protected him by intimidating his victims. They discouraged them from going to the police. This was institutional power shielding a predator for decades. His first trial ended in a mistrial because the jury couldn't agree. But in May 2023, they tried him again. This time, he was convicted on 2 counts of forcible rape. The judge sentenced him to 30 years to life in prison. He won't be eligible for parole until he's nearly 80 years old. After the verdict, his wife divorced him. His co-stars publicly distanced themselves from him. And most importantly, his victims were finally believed. Scientology's shield had cracked, and justice was finally served. Masterson was convicted and locked away, but the next man was acquitted in court. Yet somehow everyone still knows what he did. The American tragedy. O.J. Simpson was an NFL legend, a movie star, and an American hero. Then in June 1994, his ex-wife and her friend were found murdered. Within days, O.J. became the prime suspect. The Bronco chase? The trial? The glove that didn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. In October 1995, the jury said, "Not guilty." America erupted. Some celebrated, others were filled with rage. But the civil trial found him liable and ordered him to pay $33.5 million. In 2007, he was arrested for armed robbery. Convicted in 2008. Sentenced to 9 to 33 years. Released in 2017. Died in 2024. He was acquitted of murder but remained guilty in the public's eyes. O.J. escaped murder charges in the 1990s. The next man couldn't escape when his time came in the 2020s. A hip-hop mogul who thought he was untouchable. The fallen mogul. Sean Diddy Combs built a $400 million empire with Bad Boy Records and Ciroc. In September 2024, federal agents arrested him. Charges: racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution. Prosecutors described an organized operation using staff and intimidation for decades. May 2025. Trial began. Acquitted on racketeering and trafficking. Convicted on transportation charges. Sentence 50 months, $500,000 fine. Then 2016 hotel footage surfaced showing him violently attacking his ex-girlfriend. What she described, the world finally saw. The cycle continues. These 9 men span 100 years, but the pattern didn't start in 1921. And it didn't end in 2024. Allison Mack. NXIVM cult. Recruiting women into abuse. Jonathan Majors. Assault conviction. Career destroyed. Chris Brown. 2009. Assault. Multiple legal issues since. Ezra Miller. Multiple arrests. Treatment and apologies. New names. Same system. Every generation thinks we'd never let that happen now. But it keeps happening. The turning tide #MeToo started in 2017. Weinstein fell, then Cosby, then R. Kelly. But new cases emerge every year. Some go to prison, some die free. But the victims live with it forever, a century of abuse breaking too late. This isn't about individual monsters. It's about a system that protects them. Power, fame, silence. For 100 years, that formula worked. Jimmy Savile died celebrated. Harvey Weinstein will die in prison. The difference? Victims refuse to stay silent. The names change. The crimes don't. Until the system changes, this list keeps growing. Hollywood sells us dreams. Behind the cameras? Nightmares? Jimmy Savile, 450-plus victims, died unpunished. Harvey Weinstein, decades in prison. Bill Cosby, free on technicality. Roman Polanski, fugitive for 46 years. Diddy, 4 years federal prison. If this opened your eyes, subscribe. We cover stories they don't want told. Which one shocked you most? Drop your answer below. Fame doesn't erase evil.